everybody, welcome to another daily Corey B MTG video. Today we're going to be playing ourselves one of my favorite decks in Standard, at least one of my favorite decks in Standard, as I was preparing for the World Championship pre-MTG Foundations, and that's Mono White Control, Mono White Tokens, however you want to say it. This is the go-to anti-aggro deck of the format. Also extremely good against most of the mid-range decks, not all of them. Dimir maybe a little bit better against this than decks like Golgari, but this is a deck where if you are absolutely sick of losing to decks like Gruul, maybe the Gruul Prowess deck that I played a couple days ago, the hyper-aggressive red decks, Boros, any of those kind of decks that have Monastery Swift Spear, this is kind of the deck for you. This is a deck that I believe won one of the challenge by Bernardo Santos. A very good Magic Online player. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's where I saw this list. But it does exactly that. It just destroys Gruul, destroys midrange. Definitely has a little bit tougher of a time if you're playing against anything like Azorius, Oculus, Dimir, any of the polarizing opposites of the metagame. You know, if you're in the middle, the aggressive, especially the mid-range aggressive decks, like Mono Red can get under this deck and you can get the job done. But like the Gruul deck I played, that's like a hybrid between the hyper-aggressive decks, and, you know, the all-in decks. This is the kind of deck that just absolutely destroys them. And I think you could even, you know, see that when we played Gruul. I believe this was our end boss, and we, well, I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but, it was an interesting match, to say the least. You can go ahead and watch that previously, but the name of the game here is to get either Enduring Innocence or Caretaker's Talent in play, and then start playing just a bunch of creatures. You have Carrot Cake, one of the worst cards to ever make it to a Standard deck that I've ever seen, if I'm being totally honest. But, you know, you really understand how awesome this card is in the deck when you can actually start to play it and feel the power and the synergies it has with some of your other cards. Where you have a mess of removal spells, Get Lost, Lay Down Arms is incredible in this deck. It's just, you know, Swords to Plowshard esque. You know, the fact that it's sorcery is whatever, but the fact that we're in Standard and not in Legacy should tell you a lot about the power of this card. Then you get to play just the absolute house against any of the aggressive decks, or honestly just any deck. Biza, the Bounding Spring, is just an absolutely incredible card. So great at catching you up. If you're already ahead, it's a 4-mana 4/5 body that might get one of the abilities, but just an incredibly powerful card. You get to play the best sweeper in the format in the form of Sunfall, and your mana base is perfect. You know, your mana base is very good. You have Sunken Citadels that don't really do anything except make activating your fountain ports easier. So otherwise, this is just pretty much only to help out with your ports. But we play the full 4 fountain ports, as this land is incredible in Standard, but no deck can utilize playing that many because, well, decks are 2 or 3 colors, and this produces no color besides the treasures. So this is really the only deck that can utilize it, but it utilizes it quite well. Then in the sideboard, we have a plethora of cards for more ways to deal with creatures with Split Up and Temporary Lockdown. Elspeth's Smite to deal with the really hyper-aggressive red decks. Boonbringer Valkyrie if you just really want to keep slapping up aggro decks. Rest in Peace for Oculus, those kind of things. And then Exercise is pretty good against a wide variety of decks. So before we get into the games, everyone, first of all, if you're watching these daily videos and you're enjoying the content, tell your friend, tell your grandmother, tell someone about these videos. Get the word out that I'm making daily Standard YouTube arena content for Standard for the foreseeable future. I really appreciate it, as well as hit that subscribe button while you're here. That really helps out the content and helps me branch out the content and, you know, maybe start hiring some editors and stuff. So right now it's all me. You probably noticed because it's not that high quality, but I'm trying. I'm learning and I'm trying to get better every day. But some people that have already gotten basically as good as they can, but they still continue to improve, is our lovely sponsors of the video, of the YouTube channel. First up, the main sponsor here, one of the two main sponsors, is KMC. If you are a fan of KMC sleeves, the Hyper Mats, the Hyper Phoenixes, the inner sleeves, all that kind of stuff, you should check out their new product, and that is the Mox Luxury Deck Box. It is extremely high quality for a very affordable rate. You have an exchangeable little diamond in the middle there, and it's just a really cool product. So make sure to use that promo code in the top left to save yourself 15% off at checkout. And of course, our other sponsor of the stream, it is Heavy Play. If you like these futuristic products from Heavy Play, as far as the ETB playmats, RFG deck boxes, magnetic dice boxes, as well as their sleeves with the round corners, which are pretty cool. You can check out any of these products behind me, as well as their newest product, the Phil Stone ETB playmats, where if you don't like that kind of smooth look of the playmat that you're seeing behind me, you can get some really cool artwork done there. And they might even have new artists on the horizon. So make sure to use that promo code up there and follow that URL to be able to save yourself some money off some Heavy Play products. And of course, the KMC URL is below in the description as well. So, all right, let's battle. All right, on the draw here, our opponent has kept a hand of 7. The one thing about this deck, y'all, no hand is going to look like, oh my god, we've got it. You're basically a control deck, so every hand looks pretty medium like this, so we'll be happy to keep it. Blue-white land, this could easily be Oculus, which I don't imagine is our best matchup. Yeah, I'm a little worried about this one. There's the Oculus into the yard already, and we'll just say go. Now, at least we can kill it if they try to bring it back right now, but it is a very scary card. All right, let's get it out of there. Hopefully that was their whole game plan, and it kind of looked like it was so far. Not a bad draw here, so we'll get the Enduring Innocence down, mostly to be mana efficient here, but plus you just want to get one of these 3-mana enchantments down to then start getting value every turn, and just bury your opponent in it value. Okay. So, it's already back. Which is unfortunate, but not the biggest deal. So I'm actually going to really try to block here at some point so I can Sunfall away their creatures. I think I'm going to keep this. So weird to talk so much trash about Carrot Cake and then be like, yeah, I'm in. I'll snap keep it. I do think I'm going to attack. Put him to the test. Okay, now I do think we probably want to get lost right now. So when you sacrifice it, you also get a trigger off this. But I really think we just have to make sure this stays off the battlefield. Otherwise, they can always just back up this with a negate. So now, more than likely, they're just going to do it again. Or if anything, they're going to do it from graveyard next turn. They're just digging for a land. Didn't find one. Okay, well. Next turn, they're going to do this again. Which is a big problem. We can Sunfall, but we want our Enduring Innocence to go into our exile. We'll see what we want to do here. I'm going to start by attacking. Now, there is some world where we just Enduring Innocence plus Carrot Cake and try to Sunfall when we get more value, and I think I'm actually going to do that. So let's go like this. We're going to draw a bunch of cards. So it's actually better to sack this to draw because only one of these will trigger, as one just triggered. So yeah, let's do that. And we'll say go. Chart a Course is the card they want to cast. And they're paying the mana. So no matter what, they're not going to have negate available. So I really hope they let me block. I think that would be a mistake if they attacked, but we'll see. Pretty smart on opponent. Pretty smart. I don't think we need to say we need a land. We would like to hit a land drop, but we'll kind of stumble into one with drawing this many cards. Alright, so they're definitely putting us to the test if they want to have us cast one of our Sunfalls. And honestly, if they're going to keep taking this, I might just not. Yeah, like, whatever. So now if I played a Biza, they have 7 cards in hand. We have 7 cards. So we could draw a card, and that's it. I don't really want to play this. So I could start with Carrot Cake and see what's up. That would get me to 8 cards. I'd play a land down to 7, and I'd play Biza down to 6, so I could still draw afterwards. That's a good tiebreaker. I will keep that, as I think I'll just want to soul partition that. Okay, so we'll play the Fountain Port. And yeah, I think I might just soul partition this. And then just make another one of these. That sounds good to me. And we'll say go. Activate another Carrot Cake. And just, the whole plan is to be mana efficient and just bury them in card advantage. Basically every opponent. Alright. So I'm gonna do this regardless. Maybe I just don't care about what they're doing. Like, and I just don't block and I try to get them dead instead. I'm going to kind of meet in the middle on this. I think I am going to put a Biza on the bottom. I'm going to draw cards to kind of get a better idea of what I want to do. I think I'm going to block with 2 and try to kill one of them. And then leave the other one just to jump it into the skies. It's random. I haven't learned anything about either of these yet, so. Just so I can at some point put flying on one of these. I could put flying on this too, so it doesn't really matter, I guess. And a red land? Interesting. Two lay down arms is really good, and as they're trying to play around these Enduring Innocence, I'm just able to pick them apart by attacking. So I think I do want to lay down arms. I guess if I attack and they block both, then I just Sunfall. So yeah, alright. I'm just going to keep putting them to the test. Okay. Now I get to Sunfall. Alright. And are we going to want to do anything else? I don't think so. 2 mana. So I guess I could make a token, or I put a tap land into play. I think making a token is actually fine here. I have enough land drops. So we'll get rid of everything. Go like this, and we'll say go. They had to block eventually, and we knew we were going to line that up. I think it would have been better for them to just block 1, but whatever. That's on them. Maybe this matchup is good. This does not feel hard so far. But if they can get under you, it's very, very tricky. So, yep. All right, 5 lands. The only way for us to make a token is going to be with this, so I think that's going to be our play no matter what. Basically, step 1 is I want to trigger this as far as this turn goes, so I'm going to go like this. I'll probably play Biza too. So if I played this, how many cards do they have? 5. So if I play a land as well, then I play Biza, and I also have that many cards. So no matter what, I'm not going to be able to do any of the triggers with Biza. We're that far ahead. So we'll just start by drawing to inform our decision. Okay. So Let's probably just lay down arms here. Get that out of there. And get our Caretaker's Talent into play. And get in some damage. Picking them apart. Picking them apart. And it's just like every turn I start with 9 cards. Like, how do they keep up when I have Swords to Plowshare in my hand and in my deck? And it's like they're going to have bounce spells. They're going to have Into the Flood Maw, stuff like that. Stuff that just doesn't matter. This is another card that just doesn't matter. Okay. So that kills it for good. Now I could just Sunfall again. Not a terrible idea. Save my other removal spells for later. Alright, let's start with this. Let the sun fall. That triggers off that. Now we go +1 to trigger these. Okay. Looks like I'm gonna want to have 4 mana available. Do I care to discard? Do I care if I discard? I don't think I do. But I would like to have 4 mana available. So we'll discard this and we'll say go. And opponent has been dead for a while. Oh, they're going to mill us. Alright, alright. That means we do got to try to close the game at some point. But yeah, they just can't. I've never even looked what the ultimate is of that Elspeth, but I can imagine it's good. Okay, so Rest in Peace. I can't imagine what I would want Rest in Peace for if it wasn't for this matchup. So we're going to bring those in. Definitely don't want these. Definitely don't want these. I don't want any of those other cards. What's our worst card in this matchup? Beezus probably not amazing. Same with Archangel Elspeth, although it looked amazing there. I think I like all the removal spells. All you got to do is control the creatures, and their deck is pretty bad. So it would make sense that the things I don't want are the really expensive things in my deck. The Virtue of Loyalty, surprising, I can't even believe I'm about to utter these words, but doesn't seem as good as Carrot Cake to me. As it can be soul partitioned if it resolves, and then it's just a worse Carrot Cake. So let's go like that and like this and just keep it the same, I think. The only other card I'm interested in cutting here is Biza on the draw, as this is not necessarily the card for it, but it's just that good of a card. If I cut Biza, I would leave in 2 Virtues and do 2 and 2, or 2 Elspeth for the 2 Virtues. That's like my only consideration here. Everything else I really like. On the draw, bees, they're always going to have more cards. They do have, like, negates, I'm sure. They might have Phantom Interference, too. I'm gonna be a bit of a coward and do a 3-1 split. A scientific 3-1 split, y'all. All right, let's try to continue to take down Oculus. Okay. Looks good to me. Perfectly reasonable hand. Once again, every hand just looks the same. But the one thing I do look for is 2 to 3 lands, one of the 3 drops. That's the main thing. You know, like, otherwise, everything else comes to you. We're a very patient deck. We just draw, go, draw, go. Well, not draw, go. You're very mana efficient once you get your engines rolling, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean, right, chat? Best card in the deck. This hot tech was found by Eli Cassis and Shota. Okay, so there is the card, and there is our card. R.I.P. So you might as well mill me, right? Yep. But now the chapter 3 just does nothing. So we already just countered a spell with this, which is sick. And that also basically does nothing. Like, they're in trouble. Well, they're in less trouble now. Okay, so whatever they're gonna do, they're gonna soul partition us. You may cast the copy. So it's not cast it for free. So if I Enduring Innocence here, I think it would only be bad. But if I Carrot Caked, I actually don't care if they soul partition that, right? Or I'd rather just soul partition... Because they can mill... No, they have to target this. So this is an interaction that even Shota asked about at the Pro Tour. It's they go on the stack. You have to target. You can't mill first and then target. So I think if that's the case, I actually should just do nothing. Otherwise, I'm just giving them a target. But they also would have to spend mana to cast it. Okay, that's the tiebreaker. I would like them to use their mana to deal with a Carrot Cake. Like, that's okay with me, you know? Don't need another land here. I don't mind it, but we'll say go. And they could add a 1 mana opt or consider, you know, whatever is in the format. So yeah, so they mill and then they have to target. So they can't do that in any other order. So yeah, you get my bunny for free. Good for you. They didn't hit the spell. And yeah, with them not doing anything here, I think I just get the Rest in Peace down. Take away that avenue of their deck and things get easier for me. And now we just try to play around Phantom Interference as much as we can for the rest of the game. So drawing land 5 here would be awesome to play Enduring Innocence. We didn't get there. So now it's a question of, do we care to play anything else? I kind of want to just jam Biza to be mana efficient and hope I draw land 5. So yeah, just a really sad Biza here as it does nothing, I think, right? Yeah, I'm ahead on all the metrics. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll just cast it again, probably. Okay, looks like they don't even have anything that I'm scared about yet. So, we got land 5, which is awesome. So, we're going to attack. Put the pressure on here. Now that we can play around Phantom Interference, we jam this. And now we get to say go and either do this or this. God, this deck is sexy. Okay, so I'm going to respond. Get to draw a card there. And now it is gone, so, I mean, that's good on them. They need to do that. So, now I'm going to attack. I could do some Fountain Port tricks. I could cast Rest in Peace. Or I could try to get Virtue down. I easily think they might... I mean, it felt like they just F6 there. Nothing for them to bring back yet. Let's just jam. Force them to have it, or they're in a lot of trouble. Alright. That was maybe not my best play. Obviously, in hindsight, everything looks worse there, but I could have just made some tokens. Or played the Rest in Peace. Honestly, the Rest in Peace might be better to resolve anyways, so... Like, what are they ever gonna do, you know? They're on a 2-turn clock. Yeah. Just absolutely nothing they could have done. Basically, from the beginning of that match. I thought that matchup might be bad, but the way that played out, that felt easy, so... Best deck, Mono White. Round 2 with Mono White control. Okay, only 2 lands. Kind of wish I was on the draw with this. But we still have this as long as we can pick up 1 land. And if not, we can buy plenty of time with these. So definitely going to keep. Just slightly missing 1 land. And we'll be good to go. Alright, is this our Mono Red friend? I'll be excited to play against it. It's not always an auto win or anything, but I do like the matchup. So now is the question of, do we Carrot Cake or do we not? If we don't Carrot Cake, you know, we're going to use one of these removal spells. And then next turn we do this. The reason I'm going to say go here is I really want to play Caretaker's Talent on an empty battlefield or a non-threatening battlefield and then go from there. So I also don't mind taking a damage to make sure Biza gains me 4. So a nice turn to be defensive here. And plus if they go buck wild with pump spells, we just get to really blow them out. Okay. Now with that, we want to hit full control. And we want to kill that before they're allowed to target it. So let's Get Lost it. Get Lost does allow them to start getting free Valiant triggers, but maybe that just doesn't matter. Soul Partition is also extremely good. It doesn't look like they are the Snakeskin Veil version, so I'm actually going to start with this, just because 4 mana is an eternity to cast this spell. So we'll take our 1 damage. And nice, we got the land. So now we are going to go Caretaker's Talent, and next turn we should have a very, very sexy Biza. I took a pill in a Biza. I think of that song every single time I play Biza. So now we kind of low-key want them to play 1 more creature, so we get the fish. But one card I am afraid of is if they play Screaming Nemesis. I don't love that one, and I like to kill that one whenever I can. So this might be something we kill instead of playing Biza here. Now, if we did Get Lost it, plus Carrot Cake, you know, we're going to be able to gain, we'll get to draw a card, we'll get to block, and we don't have to deal with the, we might not be able to gain life clause, because we could gain life right now, but it might be the last life we gain. Then again, I mean, this Biza is just so juicy, as we get basically all the modes. We even get to draw a card. We don't get the treasure, but we get the fish, we get the life. I mean, it's going to stay that way, basically, but I'm going to cast Biza, but I could see this being wrong. We're not really going to block this. Oh, we still do get the Biza there? Okay. I was like, because we drew off the talent? Interesting. Oh, wait, they have 5? No, they had 4 cards, so. Huh, that is weird that it works like that. But, what do I know? I'm going to try to not deal Screaming Nemesis any damage. But we'll happily block other stuff. I mean, this matchup, y'all, it's as close to a train wreck for our opponent as it possibly gets. Okay. So we'll block with 1 fish. And we'll sunfall all these creatures away. And they must rebuild. And I believe this triggers the Caretaker's Talent as well, which is nice. Alright, both Elspeth, not the most needed, but can be very strong. Now they could just go Manifold Mouse here. Something we're not afraid of for 1,000, Bob. And we'll continue to play games, but or continue to play this game, but our opponent has lost, and I don't see a way that they come back. This is kind of the reason to play this. And if this beats Oculus, red decks, mid-range decks, like, what else is there? Like, I bet we would lose to the Otter deck, but what doesn't? And domain strategies, but this deck had basically no representation at the World Championship at all. Just because everybody thought it was pretty bad. So the fact that it's been dominating is kind of wild to me. Okay. So, since we hit that, we can easily just go Elspeth and start generating tokens. Life linking tokens at that. And we'll say go. Slow and steady, slow and steady. We're the tortoise. They're definitely the hare. We all know how that mystery was solved. Why do they have a bear without a hat? Did they take away their bear's hat? I don't like the look of that bear without a hat. Okay. That is a card that can catch them up. I think because I didn't hit full control here, if they hit okay, they're going to be able to target the challenger. This is a thing I've done from the other side so many times. People just keep doing this wrong. So you got to hit full control before they play it, for future reference. So they're deciding if they want to play anything else or if we want to go for the throw at the challenger. I do think I want to do that. Now, they might be able to attack my Elspeth down or whatever, but who cares? I could just trade with my token. They'd have to have a pump spell. I'm just not going to mess around with it, as that is, like, the best card in these red decks. Challenger is pretty busted. Let's just get lost. Then we have Overlord of the Mistmore here at any point, if we draw an untapped land. Okay, that's dead. Now they can probably finish off Elspeth if they want with a Rage. Or they could deal me 8 damage. I mean, they could deal me half my life total here. Or they could just sack a map. Hit me for 4 if they hit a non-land. Or if they hit a land, they can do something else. So still playing Lightning Strike. That's kind of the card that I went away from. Now let's see where they want to go. Do you want to put Elspeth to 1 or hit me for 4? Okay. So now we have that. So regardless, we're going to do this. See what we draw. And it's hard to just argue with not getting this Overlord down. Seems like it's going to close the game pretty quickly. That's a card that most people scoop to quite quickly. I like the 1 Overlord in this deck, to be honest. Like, just a way to hustle out, win the game after you've drawn, like, your whole deck. Sometimes this deck does have trouble closing the game up against, like, other mid-range decks that, you know, like Golgari, where you draw, play threat. Sometimes you get kind of scared that you might deck yourself. Now, I'm slightly worried if they have, like, you know, a bunch of pump spells. Like, yeah, if they just kill the Overlord, that's all good. Okay, double strike to the Overlord. I imagine this is double strike. So there's no way I can kill the mouse. So we'll just chump block. Now I have the option between chump blocking with a lifelinker or chump blocking with a flyer. The flyer obviously has better stats, but the lifelink I think is just better here. So I'm going to chump block with a 2-1. They successfully dealt with Overlord, but at what cost? At what cost? Okay, so let's start with this. We're getting close to wanting to use this, but we'll see what we find. Pretty close as in right now, I think. So let's make a copy. 1 mana, 2/1 flyer. Now we can play a carrot cake. We can play this on white. I like having 4 mana left over, 2 mana left over at my end step to always do something I want to do. And now we'll get in there. We're feeling good. And this is each turn. So we'll say go, sack the carrot cake. We're at an effective 20. And next turn we'll pump the team and actually just win the game. This is the main way to actually close the game out whenever you're finally ready to win. So the only thing we have to play around here is like double pump spell, double striking mouse. Like, you know, I've won so many games on this. They only have one card in hand, so it's probably Monstrous Rage. So double strike plus the thing, they could deal 12 with it. With the Swift Spear, 13, 14. The max they could deal is 14 cards with the possibility of anything in their deck as one card, you know. So as long as we prepare for that, then it should be all good. Okay, so if they're both attacking that, one thing we want to do here is put 3 power in front of this. And then chump block this, and if they want to use their rage, whatever. Or actually, we might not even block the Swift Spear and just block the mouse. That's fine. Because then they still have to... The pump spell will no matter what... Oh, it has... They're giving it trample. Okay, so they might not have the pump spell. So, if that's the case... We could just try to take this down, or we could just say screw it. And just let it die. I think just letting it die is totally fine. And we'll just try to win with the talent. And not really even try. Like, we just will win with the... We have talent plus 2 counters on something, so... Should be over. Alright. There's that. Here's this. And that'll do it. I mean, that was 14 plus 6. I mean, that was well over 20 damage already. So, all right. Little small creatures with burn spells. So, surprisingly, we have a lot of cards to bring in, which I think is kind of wild. Okay, so we take out everything that's kind of clunky. Sunfall is probably pretty clunky. These are pretty clunky. These are pretty clunky. Sunfall is probably the other card that's not needed. Maybe Soul Partition. If they're mono red, Soul Partition is not very good. It's still not bad. Regardless, 4 Smite, 4 Laydown Arms is already just so mean that we're going to be answering all their threats on a 1-for-1 basis, so getting rid of this is fine. Also, Caretaker's Talent might be the other card that's just, like, not needed. I could see that being correct. Just stop the creatures, win the game. All right, we'll be a coward and we'll go 1-1. As sweepers can still be good, plus drawing cards off Caretaker's Talent can still be effective. So we want a little bit of each. All right, on the draw. Okay, I think this is reasonable. Get to 5 mana, win the game with this. Plus the Carrot Cake is okay. It's not that good against red. Okay. So, we got the turn 1 Swords to Plowshare. No big deal. That just feels so demoralizing. Like, yep, you can gain your 3 life. Them gaining 3 life when we have cards like Biza to, you know, negate the life gain is just so sick. So now if they play any creature, any 2-drop, we'll kill it. If not, we play Carrot Cake, so... That I probably don't care about yet. 2 creatures is not ideal for us. I am going to play the Carrot Cake because I want to find a land. And I'm not too threatened by these creatures yet. Would have found it anyways. And now next turn we have double removal spell if we want. Or sack a Carrot Cake plus Laydown Arms on like a 2-drop that they play here. Or a Screaming Nemesis will for sure kill, of course. And I'm not going to block, I don't think, unless they send this Heartfire Hero in. unpumped, but if they don't have a pump spell for it, they won't send it in. So now they won't send it in. So I'll take 5 here. Otherwise, I'll happily block that hero. No blocks. Okay. Now we'll kill this. And we'll say go, because we'll just sack this or have Get Lost available. Carrot Cake's looking kind of nice now. So now if they go to pump this, that creature we're happy to double block. Go to 17. Biza, of course I would love this, but all we need to do is be hitting land drops here, I think. So there'll be other elemental elks. Sorry, Biza. Double blocking the hero here happily. See what they have. If they have the monstrous rage, you know, we got a game here. If it just dies, I feel very far ahead. If they shock a creature, I don't feel as bad, but... Okay. They have to leave those in. I've been on that squeeze, like, I don't want to leave in such a card like that, but we have the Enduring Curiosity, so you kind of have to. Alright. I am going to go Carrot Cake. I don't want a tapped land. That's the only thing I really don't want here. So now we'll say go. And we'll see what they do. Now we can't really double block anything, so we are kind of incentivized to want to get lost something. But I also don't want to use it on either of these creatures, so I might just crack the cake. I might just chump block here. I think I'm just going to chump block the 4/3. I would not mind a Sunfall next turn. Especially if they're just going to do that. I do think I want to sack this Carrot Cake. I really want the land. Even though we're kind of giving away the creature. Also sad to put on the bottom, but we want land 5. Drawing another 5-drop here is basically the worst thing. Okay. So I could Boonbringer Valkyrie first. And if they deal with it, then go from there. Plus I get to gain some life. It's probably right to still just Sunfall. Because could I actually block anything? If they had the pump spell, it would actually kind of crush me here. So I'm going to just Sunfall. Of course, we got to get in our 1 damage. That's very meaningful. If this is Monstrous Rage, this play is much better. If this is a creature, this play is worse. Now I'll say go. Alright, they're dead. So, Boonbringer Valkyrie we can play, or we can just start making fountain ports. They could have the 5 damage thing, and in that case, I'd rather get a hit in. So, I think I will just say go here. And make a treasure. We're in no big rush. I want to get value off my Boonbringer, even if they have the deal 5, which they might easily keep it in. They got to kill Biza and stuff, so I don't think they could attack here. Okay, so their card is Monstrous Rage, it looks like. Or a Lightning Strike. So if they go to pump it, I get lost in it. If they go to kill it, then I can do something else. No matter what, they're in a rough spot. Now the fountain will pour on everyone. Okay, so they're doing that to just exile it? Yeah, I guess I don't care about that. I'll allow that one. Alright, so now we can make a fish. And now we know they don't have the thing, so we'll slam this. Life-linking fish. Teach a man to fish, you know? And now their head's gonna explode in 3, 2, 1. Oh. Alright, we'll gain life first. Might even get a treasure out of this, yep. Which means I should have left a fountain port open, but that's okay. Nothing matters. Because this matchup's easy. Okay, we'll get in there. I've been torched. I like that they're still playing. Yeah, I mean, that's the squeeze. Like, they need this for Enduring Innocence because that card is that good. But when I don't have it, it looks pretty brutal, huh? Alright, then we'll say go. And they're dead on board to the fish. And that's GG. That is GG. Okay, so I know this was only 2 matches here, y'all, but the one thing I wanted to make sure I always did is kept these videos in between 45 minutes to an hour. Just nice, digestible content. I know that's important for everyone. So since these were a little bit longer, as, you know, it happens with these kind of control decks, we're going to leave it at 2 matches here. But this is a deck I'm going to continue to work on as well. Like, I think this deck is extremely strong. Like, we just destroyed Red. It was not close. And we destroyed Oculus, and it was not close. And, like, those are a little bit of the extremes. Like, the Gruul mid-range, like the deck I played a couple days ago, this deck preys on that. It's far too slow. It's not all in. The mono red one can actually get under you at certain times. Our draw was just great each time, so that just never happened. But it really can happen. Oculus, on the other hand, I thought was just going to be a bad draw, so this is another deck that will be one of my contenders for, you know, best deck. I shouldn't say best deck, but decks I'm considering playing. Right now, as far as decks that I'm looking forward to, it's Standard Qualifier Weekend this weekend. So I am going to pick a deck, and right now my choices are Otterstorm, Mono White, and then the Gruul deck. Those are my top 3 right now. But, of course, as we learn more about Standard and I start fine-tuning other decks, that opinion will change. But for now, this one's definitely in the running. So thank you so much for watching. And remember, please share these videos. Hit the subscribe button if you like the content. Tell your grandmother. Tell your friends. Of course, retweet this on Twitter if you saw the post there. Share it wherever you can. Really means a lot to me to take this YouTube channel, you know, from where I started to hopefully really high up there. And a lot of people get to see these videos. So thank you so much. And, you know, one day I'll learn to talk as well. Thank you so much, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.